You know a franchise has a truly dedicated community when the fans start making games based off said franchise, willing to dedicate an insurmountable amount of time into these projects just out of sheer love for the property. Pokemon is a good example of this, with fans making ROM hacks and sometimes even making them from the ground up, giving rise to fan games like Pokemon Reborn and Pokemon Rejuvenation. It's always fun to see different perspectives on these franchises. The fans get to do their own takes and wild spins and ideas that often wouldn't be explored in the official games. In some cases, they produce projects that rival or even surpass the quality of the originals. Heck, sometimes this passion and talent catch the attention of the companies themselves, leading to incredible opportunities. A great example is Christian Whitehead, whose fan work ultimately led him to being hired to develop the ports for Sonic CD, and even allowing him to create an original Sonic game, that being Sonic Mania, one of the most celebrated games in the Sonic series. On the other hand, they might end up turning into absolute stinkers that take a piss on the source material that they're based on. You know, like Sonic Omens or Spider-Man Lotus, to name a few. Now, those projects have their own rabbit holes that we will not get into this video, and I know that Spider-Man Lotus isn't a fan game. I just wanted to prove a point. Recently, I came across a fan project that caught my eye, and I knew that I had to sit down and play it. Now, I'm not very knowledgeable about Mario fan games. I'm not really much of a Mario guy, despite it being the first video I uploaded on the channel. Yeah, I know, I'm a fraud Mario fan. Start booing, yeah, start disliking the video, whatever. But I do like Mario. If you were to serve me a plate with a Mario game on it, there's a 98% chance I'll enjoy it. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm totally ignorant about Mario fan games. I have seen and known about Mario 64 mods and the fan games that surround it, but I wasn't well versed enough to know that there is a completely insane amount of fan projects, you know. Sometimes I forget that Mario is the icon of the video game industry, so it's only natural that it would cultivate a very passionate and dedicated fan base.
Oh no!
And I think the fan game that we're going to talk about is a testament to that point. Now, I've been yapping for too long. We're here to talk about Mario. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Super Mario and the Rainbow Stars. My god, I could not believe the quality behind this game. Honestly, I don't even know where to start with this because there's a lot of things this game gets right. Okay, let's just start out with the developers, alright? This project is being developed by a small team led by Starshy, and they really get it, man. They understand the core of what makes a Mario game a Mario game. Now, the game is not finished currently. It only contains the first chapter, spanning over 8 levels with some side stuff sprinkled in between, but it has sufficient content for any fan of the series to sink their teeth into it and get an idea of what to expect. This project has been in development for a while, going as back as 2018, where the game got its first look on a demo, and it doesn't take a thorough observation to realize that it has gone through some massive changes. Going by what was stated in the download page, Rainbow Stars aims to incorporate traits from other Mario series, such as the Mario & Luigi and Paper Mario games, into a 2D Mario platformer. You want the comedic dialogue from the Mario & Luigi games? You got it. You want lovable, quirky, and silly characters similar to Paper Mario? You got it. It's a combination of characteristics that don't get to be emphasized at all in mainline titles. As the mainlines put more focus on refining its gameplay, this project hopes to achieve the same while also breaking the status quo. Once you dive into the game, you're greeted by its beautiful presentation, with pixel art that looks like it was made from the ground up. Look at this view. This is what life is all about. The art brings me back to the good old days of when I used to play Super Mario World on the GBA. Man, I miss those days. The game does reuse assets, but they keep that at the bare minimum, with only the music from official titles being reused here and there. The game does have its own original songs, with the main theme and boss fight themes being absolute bangers. Going into the meat and potatoes, once you get in control of Mario, you'll feel right at home. It captures everything that you love from the 2D Mario games. The controls are tight and responsive. The physics feel like they're about the same as you see in the official games. However, it brings a fresh new moveset not seen in this format. You have his moveset and mechanics from the 3D games translated and blended in a 2D space, and it works really well here. You got mechanics like the dive. You also got the side somersault that you see in games like Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy. I find myself using the dive way more frequently than I was expecting, using it strategically on some platforming sections to reach certain areas or evading obstacles. The health system is also taken from the 3D games like Mario Galaxy and Mario Odyssey, so it's not like the traditional 2D games where if you get hit, you lose your power-up. I like this implementation because it leaves more room for creativity on the board for the level designers. They're able to design levels around a gimmick or a power-up, giving each level their own identity and making them distinct. Despite of this, it doesn't deter from the traditional formula we're familiar with. It maintains the spirit of everything that you love about 2D Mario games right here. After you complete the first level, you get introduced to a new character called Starry, consequently introducing a new mechanic called A Primer. Basically, you take Starry and you yeet him towards any obstacles in your way. You can use this to attack enemies or activate switches that are located in areas that are directly inaccessible to Mario. It's a cool and simple mechanic that does its job at making the game unique and makes the levels have a distinct dynamic from official Mario titles. Oh, look at this little guy. He's trapped here. Here, let me help you with that. Yay! To me, it's crazy how this game feels both authentic and innovative. Mario has always been synonymous with introducing new ideas and elements to shake up the formula, and this fan game has given me those vibes. Mario games have always had that tendency of delivering unique experiences with each entry, at least in the 3D games. Despite of this, I'm also aware that before Mario Wonder got released, the 2D titles have always had this criticism for being safe and not trying anything new. So even with all of that in mind, if you show me this game with the context that this was made by Nintendo, I would have believed you. Like, this game is surprisingly well polished. Like, it's insane to me. What surprised me a lot was the look of the overworld. Like, it's the same style you'd see in games like Super Mario Wonder and Mario 3D World, only that it has this isometric look and it's done with pixel art. They could have simply went the route of making it look like something from Super Mario World or just a standard level selector, but they went above and beyond with this and it looks great. I haven't even mentioned the small details that it has, like the weather in a certain area of the overworld reflects the weather that you're gonna see in the level of that zone. So if an area is raining, you can bet the level is going to have rainy weather. You also got your interactable blocks that give you coins and the binoculars in case you want to get a good view of the overworld. There's some more little things here and there that add more charm to the game, but I'm not going too in-depth because they don't really change anything regarding the core gameplay. I just wanted to mention some of the details because the devs went the extra mile to add them in the game. Now, going into the levels themselves, they are an absolute blast to play through. Whoever did the level design definitely study the designs of official Mario levels, and you can tell once you play it. It captures the essence that we're so familiar with the 2D Mario games, while still bringing that innovation with the implementation of new mechanics. It also has the difficulty structure that Mario games are known for, starting with simple obstacles and slowly escalating the difficulty as you progress. It was surprisingly challenging in some parts, like they weren't frustratingly hard by any means. The platforming is just right and it encourages you to get good with your moveset. Alright, let's do this, Alright, first one, easy clap, let's fucking go. Again, let's, you know what, that's fine, we'll try again. Alright, we go again. Ooh, they're schmooping, yo, let's go, alright, let's do it. Oh, that's fine, let's go again.
6.5 hours later.
Oh, so close. Alright, let's go again. I'll get it this time, Watch. What really made them stand out to me is the duration of these levels. These levels are long. For me, the average time it took to complete most of these levels would be around 7 to 8 minutes, I would say. There are some levels that are more straightforward, so they didn't take as long to complete, but it doesn't feel like they completely drag out. Except maybe the first level, but it's mostly because it's where they introduce us to the mechanics. It relies significantly on the wall jumping segments. They do a decent job at least making each section have a different layout, so it doesn't get too stale. However, it doesn't fully fix the problem. It still feels like it drags out for a little too long. Thankfully, the rest of the levels don't suffer from that problem. They have enough variety to keep them fresh and engaging. Now, this wouldn't be a Mario game without power-ups, now wouldn't it? So if this game's mechanics work like they do in Galaxy and Odyssey, so naturally the power-ups work like they do in Galaxy. The levels are designed around that specific power-up. For instance, the underwater level brings back the frog suit, and its whole gimmick has you using the suit to navigate through strong currents. The suit gives you the ability to swim at higher speeds, allowing you to move around those turns. In addition, using Starry to clear out any hindrances in your path. And speaking of Starry, the power-ups are also capable of giving him certain elemental properties, and I like it. In the last level, which by the way looks aesthetically gorgeous, you get access to the Fire Flower. It gives Starry fire properties when you throw him, interacting with the environment by burning certain platforms. The level utilizes its unique aesthetic to their advantage, using the particles as a way to communicate to you the platforms you can burn, which is a pretty nice detail. The game also has its own fair share of boss fights, and they are very fun in their own ways. They don't feel like copy-paste from each other, so I guess it's a good sign for the bosses they will drop in the future. But yeah, not much to say, the bosses were really fun. Now, like I said previously, this game does take elements from the Mario and Luigi games. Like the main antagonist, who is called Starnox, he takes a lot of inspiration from Darkstar from Bowser's Inside Story, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because they add their own twist to it. They give it its own original design and lore that separates it from its original source material, and quite frankly, I dig it. I think the design looks really sick. You also get to see some familiar characters and enemies like Rex from Super Mario World and Superstar Saga. You got the Yoshis making appearances in their own village, and who can forget Bowser, which only makes a brief appearance, but you know, he's there. I found myself really intrigued with the characters native to this game, not in a sort of attached to them kind of way. I just found them really charming. They were not kidding when they said the game has elements from Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario. The dialogue practically oozes with the charm that fans will find very reminiscent of those games. And as a fan of Mario and Luigi myself, I'm not ashamed to admit that some of the dialogue got some laughs out of me. There's a slight focus on the plot here, presenting new settings while dropping some hints of the lore. Furthermore, it also introduces original characters as well as sets them up for the future updates. I won't be talking much about the story because it's only one chapter, but the fact that the game is setting up a different major antagonist that is not Bowser is enough to get me intrigued. I know that story isn't a big attributing factor in Mario games, but I just thought I'd point that out for anyone that's interested in that aspect. One thing I want to mention is that the game has some really convenient and cool quality of life options. You're granted the ability to choose from which checkpoint you want to start in a level. So if you missed a certain star shard, which by the way are the collectibles of this game, you don't have to replay the entire level to collect it. This game also brings the time trials, which, as the name suggests, it focuses on the speedrun aspect. And I mean that in a literal sense, as the time trial versions of the levels have slight variations from the originals, sometimes bringing invisible blocks to close off certain areas, paving the road for you very clearly. In addition, it removes cutscenes and scripted events from the levels, ensuring nothing interrupts the flow of the speedrun. It's impressive that the developers considered this and provided an alternative specifically for speedrunners to enjoy. I love when they include features like this. It just really shows how much they care about the diverse range of players supporting these projects. I know it may seem like a small thing to focus on, but it's when games have details like these that truly shows how much a creator cares for their project. Overall, I found this to be one of the best fan projects I've ever played. It's honestly shocking how the creator didn't decide to make an original game out of everything constructed here. Then again, maybe that's why it's so good. The developers channeled their love and passion for the franchise in the best way possible, perhaps in a way that an original game couldn't. After all, passion is a key driving force in creating art, and sometimes that passion stems from an existing work of art, which might explain why this game turned out so well. Completing the demo left me with a hunger for more. I cannot emphasize enough how the quality is arguably comparable to the insane standards we see in the games developed by Nintendo. And listen, I know that's very high praise, however, if y'all ever get the opportunity to play this game, y'all will understand. And if you guys are interested in playing it for yourselves, just look up the name of the game in your search browser and it should pop up. Or you can join the Discord so that you can keep up with any development updates. I'm certainly going to keep an eye out for any future updates, and I'll be looking forward to the progress of the game. And that's going to wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be seeing y'all on the next one. Drink lots of water, gamers.